The Maldives are one of the most popular island groups in the world for a reason. It's a place of unparalleled luxury. Almost everywhere you look, there's a private resort island, beachfront 5 stars, or an overwater bungalow. With so many extraordinary stays to choose from, it's easy to feel spoiled for choice. But what if I told you that there was one hotel that not just gives you access to a beach, but places you deep into the Indian Ocean itself? That's the kind of experience you can expect from Conrad Maldives on Rangali Island. Over 3 decades, this resort has set new standards for luxury in the region. Let's take a closer look at this hotel and its incredible offerings. A list that includes an undersea villa, an underwater dining experience, and a private spa on a private island. Conrad Maldives sits on Rangali Island in the South Ari Atoll of the Maldives. This region of the island nation is considered one of the best places in the world to swim with whale sharks by Lonely Planet. It's an almost untouched paradise with a lot to offer. But that makes getting there a bit tricky as well. Rangali Island is either a 30-minute journey by seaplane or an over 4-hour speedboat ride from the capital, Malé. This may be frustrating depending on how long it took you to get to the Maldives, but rest assured you'll be greeted with a smile, fresh coconuts, and an assortment of snacks when you arrive at Conrad's private lounge. From that point on, you're in safe hands. I say this not just because the service is impeccable, but because Conrad is a hotel that frequently features in design magazines, regularly wins awards, and receives overwhelmingly positive reviews. It's also a project that's been in the works for over 3 decades. The first resort officially came up in 1992, and it was simply called Rangali Island. Back then, it had 40 beach villas and a single restaurant. But its biggest draw was the location. Rangali Island is surrounded by very swimmable turquoise waters and gorgeous coral reefs. 5 years later, Hilton took over and expanded the project until the Hilton Rangali had 120 rooms. Soon after, the hotel received its current name, added 2 spas, a dozen restaurants, and took over a neighboring island. It was the latest of these innovations that made the most headlines, however. In 2018, following a $30 million makeover, Conrad Maldives Rangali Island became the first hotel in the country to boast of an underwater villa, a one-of-a-kind accommodation called the Muraka, which we'll explore soon. Most guests at Conrad Maldives don't stay at the Muraka, but in one of the hotel's 150-plus floating suites and villas. This is no way a downgrade. Each of these stunning accommodations has something to offer, either private decks, plunge pools, see-through floors, marble bathtubs, TVs ascending from the ceiling, or all of the above. Rooms are spread across 11 categories, including overwater villas, beach villas, and spa retreat villas. All rooms and both islands are linked by a 3,200-foot-long bridge. Villas at Conrad Maldives range from 1,000 to over 3,000 square feet. Some standouts include the Sunrise Water Villa, which has a rotating master bed, and the Grand Water Villa, which has a sunlit bathtub as well as a whirlpool on the private deck. The Premier Water Villa has a private infinity pool overlooking the sea. The list goes on. Almost every room you book has something unique to offer. But then we get to the Muraka, which raises the standard in every regard. This 2-story villa is set 16 feet under the sea, but comes with all the amenities you get on land and more. It has a private gym, bar, butler's quarters, and a bathtub with sweeping rooms of the ocean. The master bedroom also offers incredible views of coral reefs that give the room its name. Above sea level is a relaxation deck where you can get some fresh air and sunlight. The Muraka also comes with a butler, a chef, and private boat to ferry guests back to the hotel jetty. It's an incredible experience, and one that's made the resort a hotspot for famous celebrities and personalities, including Paul McCartney and Roger Federer. Guests who can't afford to stay at the Muraka can still experience what it's like to be under the Indian Ocean, provided they can shell out enough to eat at Ithaa. This is the world's first undersea restaurant. It's also set 16 feet below sea level, offers panoramic views of the coral reefs, and serves the best local seafood prepared with European flair. The restaurant is open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It can be a surreal experience eating a piece of toast as a manta ray or shark swims past. But that's not the only fine dining option at the Conrad. The hotel has 12 restaurants that serve a variety of cuisines. You can have a 7-course Japanese meal at Coco, explore the intricacies of Chinese cuisine at Ufa, or go to a culinary tour around the world at the Atoll Market, all without ever leaving Rangali Island. It's clear that the hotel takes dining seriously, and this extends to drinks too. If you aren't familiar with the Maldives, drinking is restricted in many parts of the country for religious reasons. Alcohol cannot be brought in either, but many luxury resorts are exempt from prohibition. Guests at Conrad don't need to worry about any of this, because it's actually the first hotel in Maldives to have an underground wine cellar with over 20,000 bottles in its collection. To pair, it is also the first hotel in the world to have a dedicated cheese bar. All in all, it's luxury tourism at its finest. It shouldn't surprise you that staying at the Conrad Maldives Rangali Island is not cheap. Many rooms are advertised at just over $500, but that's the lowest end of the spectrum. Most rooms actually range between $700 and $1,200, especially for a mid-range suite. The Muraka, on the other hand, is definitely a once-in-a-lifetime experience. When it launched, the room was priced at a staggering $50,000 a night. It's since come down significantly, but it's still pretty steep for a night, especially considering meals at any of the other restaurants can cost another couple of $100s each. The exclusivity comes at a price too. Hotel fares don't include transportation in and out of Malé, which can be high. The seaplane, for example, costs $680 for a round trip per adult, while the speedboat costs a collective $3,000 for all guests. It all adds up, but of course, you can't deny the value for money. How many times in your life will you get to say that you've eaten at an underwater restaurant after all?